Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're cracking open the Mahabharata, specifically Section 29, to dig into the epic heist and the cautionary tale. We're going to uncover a massive, mythic heist that, surprisingly enough, hides a deeply relatable human lesson right in the middle of it. It's one of those amazing stories that completely blends cosmic, epic proportions with the very grounded, everyday flaws of human nature.
To kick things off, we have to talk about Garuda. He's this colossal, legendary bird on a ridiculously high-stakes mission to steal Amrita, the nectar of immortality from the gods. But before he can even attempt this impossible task, he has a very serious problem. He is absolutely starving, and his hunger is literally of mythic proportions. So what kind of meal does a mythic bird actually need to fuel the greatest heist in the heavens? Garuda's unending hunger. Our legendary bird is desperately trying to carb load, so to speak, because he's trying to save his mother from bondage. He needs maximum strength to pull this off, and as we quickly discover in this section, his appetite is completely out of control and causing a whole lot of collateral damage.
Get this, just to give you an idea of exactly how hungry he is, he recently accidentally swallowed a Brahmana, a holy priest, but the priest actually began to burn Garuda's throat like a piece of flaming charcoal. Garuda had to frantically let him and his wife, a woman from a local tribe of hunters, out of his mouth just to save himself. And even after that whole ordeal, Garuda complains that he's eaten thousands of these hunters and he is somehow still hungry.
So, desperate times, right? He goes to his father, the great Rishi Kasyapa. He practically begs him to point him toward a meal hefty enough to power this cosmic heist. He explicitly asks for food that will make him strong enough to bring away the Amrita by sheer brute force.
A bizarre mythic menu. Now, Kasyapa's answer is, well, it's incredibly strange. He doesn't point Garuda to a giant herd of cattle or a massive forest of fruit. Instead, he points him to a sacred lake containing a giant elephant that is continually dragging around a giant tortoise. It's a highly specific and, honestly, utterly bizarre recommendation.
To really wrap our heads around the mind-boggling scale of this meal, we have to look at the measurements the text gives us. The elephant alone is 6 yojanas in height and 12 in circumference. To put that into perspective, a single yojana is typically reckoned to be several miles long. And the tortoise is no slouch either, standing 3 yojanas high and 10 in circumference.
The text brilliantly illustrates the sheer size by explicitly comparing the massive elephant to a huge mountain or a massive bank of dark clouds. We're not just talking about large animals here. We're talking about moving, breathing geographical features. And Kasyapa looks at his son and essentially says, yep, go eat them both.
The price of greed. But hold on, who actually are these creatures? We learn pretty quickly that these aren't just random giant monsters. They are actually cursed human brothers named Vibhavasu and Supritika. And right here is where our mythic heist story takes a really sharp turn into a deeply psychological cautionary tale about human nature.
This tragedy didn't just happen overnight. It was a classic downward spiral. It starts with the brothers sharing joint wealth. Then, the younger brother, Supritika, demands a partition of their property. Well, this leads to a bitter quarrel, which escalates into mutual curses, and finally, their literal transformation into these gigantic, warring beasts.
The core issue is captured beautifully by the older brother, Vibhavasu, before the curse even happens. He warns Supritika that foolish people blinded by the love of wealth always desire a partition. He warns that enemies disguised as friends will just step in, point out faults, and exploit their divided wealth. As he so powerfully puts it, absolute ruin very soon overtakes the separated.
But, of course, ignoring those incredibly wise warnings, the brothers let their greed completely consume them. Vibhavasu curses his younger brother to become an elephant, and Supritika fires right back, cursing his older brother to become a water-dwelling tortoise. Because of their sheer wrath and their absolute obsession with property, they lose their humanity entirely.
The colossal catch. All right, zooming back out to our epic present, these transformed brothers are fiercely battling in that sacred lake. Even as beasts, they are completely blinded by their past human hostility. They are locked in this mad, violent encounter, thrashing the water around, totally unaware of the cosmic predator hovering right above them. Armed with Kasyapa's blessing, which is packed with the immense spiritual power of sacred texts like the Upanishads, the Riks, Yajus, and Samas, Garuda dynamically executes his attack. He soars down to the lake, effortlessly snatches up a colossal beast in each claw, and launches back into the skies with unimaginable speed.
Just the wind generated from Garuda's massive wings as he carries this impossible load is enough to literally terrify the heavens. He flies over a sacred place called Alamamva, and the divine trees there, trees with golden boughs that grant every wish, actually begin to shake with absolute fear, terrified that the wind from his flight is going to snap them in half.
Seeking a place to finally sit down and eat this mountainous meal, he avoids the divine trees and finds a massive banian tree adorned with precious gems. This tree actually speaks to him, inviting Garuda to sit on a single branch that stretches an incredible 100 yojanas long.
So Garuda, whose own body resembles a mountain, lands upon this magnificent bough. But here is the insane climax to this whole sequence. Even this gargantuan branch, extending for hundreds of miles and serving as the home for thousands of birds, cannot withstand the sheer epic weight of Garuda combined with those cursed greedy brothers. The second he lands, the great bough violently shakes and just breaks down.
As we leave Garuda hovering there, holding the weight of two brothers who were completely destroyed by their own avarice, we really have to ask ourselves a vital question. Vibhavasu and Supritika let their petty squabbles over wealth literally turn them into blind, warring monsters destined to be consumed. So are we letting our own modern conflicts over money and property turn us into monsters too? It's a powerful, ancient warning that echoes perfectly into our lives today.